How does this look? How does this feel? Better, worse? It looks much better on my computer.
Stream looked really good. The stream still looks good now.
Okay, cool.
Hang on, is that replaying something?
Shouldn't be.
It looks really crisp.
Okay, good. So I don't know if this is something like before you or me. This is all I'm just gonna throw the whole thing up there on YouTube because I don't care. It's good to see the behind the scenes. I went into my settings here. Uh-oh. Game's going black. Went to output. Changed my encoder over to hopefully what's going to be my graphics card. And then I put the preset to Twitch streaming, so the quality is going to be balanced. The preset mode's disabled. Target bitrate is 3,500. All of that is there. And then I just hit apply and okay. So then now we should be good. I think we should be fine. We've only missed frames and rendering. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But if Vit wants to join us in games, he's more than welcome to join us in some games.
Yeah. Although we do have to get started.
Yes, we do.
So, Vit's jumping on. God damn it, Vit! I was just preparing myself. Can you keep an eye out for that?
Yes, I got you.
So, welcome everyone to episode 5 of the OnlyCrams Podcast, where we chat about all things Pokemon Unite. I'm your host, X Goose, and with me I have Tsnydes28, a man who really likes to fiddle with his OBS settings just before a podcast starts.
You're not wrong.
How are you doing, my
man? I'm doing surprisingly well. I took a little break from Pokemon Unite, and I have to tell you that break was very, very much warranted. It was very needed. But I mean, it's one of those things where you just kind of have to do it. But Goose, how have you been doing?
Yeah, I've been exactly the same. So it was getting to the point with Unite where I was just getting incredibly frustrated. And the losses, I was getting more annoyed at the losses than I should have been. And I was getting, even the wins weren't kind of like, like, hey, I've won. It was kind of like, yeah, that's finally a win. So I also took a little bit of a break, and I think I've been better for it. So the next question that I usually ask at the start of my podcast is, how are the games? But obviously we've both kind of not played much, so the games haven't really been going. But I do want to chat about, and I think this is going to take up quite a large portion of this podcast, is Worlds, because we had the Worlds qualifiers this weekend.
Yes.
And we've had it's the regional qualifiers, so we've had teams competing to be the best in North America, Europe, Oceania, Asia, wherever they are at. And yeah, have you managed to watch any?
So I was trying to watch some last night, in between the kids trying to put their shows on, and in the fit of everything. I got to watch TTV absolutely obliterate their qualifying match to solidify their spot in the March tournament. And it looks like we have a new meta. I think we don't have a 1-1-3 anymore.
Oh, okay, hang on. Hold on to that thought. Because it's something that I do want to delve into. But yeah, it's just because I was watching, for me, a lot of the streams were kind of a little bit too late. So I kind of caught some of the start of some streams last night.
Okay.
And then I went to sleep, and then I've kind of caught up on some this morning. Particularly, I was watching a lot of Assassin Dave. And, I think I needed Worlds. I needed to watch this because I tweeted out earlier on, and it's a point that I want to make now. Watching competitive teams playing good games has got me really invigorated. I really want to play the game again. So I think the combination between the break and seeing some like high-level gameplay with some good tactics and stuff has really made me like miss the game. and I was not at that point a little while ago.
Yeah.
I was just kind of like, I'm playing the game, but I'm playing the game just for streaming. Not because that I want to actually pick up the game, but it's because like I come on and I stream and it's like a habit. But I'm really like invigorated to play the game again, and hopefully get some good high level games in myself.
Excellent.
So I wanted to get that in before we go on to the meta, because the meta previously, for anybody who has watched any Unite over the past 6 to 8 months, the meta has been, particularly from North American players, has been about getting in and doing the 1-1-3. Oh, okay, Lucario managed to get that. Doing the 1-1-3 and rotating down Lucario or another all-rounder, primarily Lucario though, up top, causing havoc.
Yeah, so I mean,
then
primarily
the big fight
Lucario.
at the end being Zap.
Yeah. Primarily you had Lucario at the top. We have been seeing some shakeup. Darn it, you got that. Not a whole lot with Aegislash. But yeah, most of the time it was Lucario top.
Yeah. And then again, something that we were kind of getting frustrated about was the kind of flip for Zap at the end.
Oh!
The game could just
Oh,
turn
hello.
on its head instantly.
Yep.
And I think that's kind of changed just a teensy little bit. Or maybe it's not changed, but we've seen more tactics than I originally thought we might have. And it made me quite excited.
Yeah, we definitely haven't seen any sort of changes. We have just been eyes wide open to some of these things here where we're normally not. We now figured out that if we can put the counterplay out there, then we can do well, versus just trying to get, Zap is everything, otherwise you lose. We know if we lose Zap, we can counterplay, but having Worlds here is, like you said, refreshing. It is nice to see that there are, I can't say bad teams, but there are teams out there that are on my level still trying to compete and going against the top tier Pokemon. This is it. This is what we do.
Yep. Yeah, it's been, I don't know, quite the experience, I think. Just getting to see that because, I don't know. It was just one of those things that things were getting a bit stale, and I don't know. Yeah, I just kind of felt a bit bad about how I was playing. But let's talk about specifically the meta, because, like you've just said, we knew about the counterplay. Like, the counterplay has always been a thing, but seeing it executed so well really makes it feel a lot more viable.
Yeah, it really does.
Because obviously, everyone was kind of in for. Okay, this has not gone well here. Oh.
Nice change up there.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, well, what's so great about seeing this Worlds here is if you were not playing a 1-1-3, it kind of felt like you were gonna lose.
You're dead, right?
Yeah. And then now all of a sudden things have changed. It is no longer a 1-1-3 meta. It is something that you can say, hey, this is what we're gonna do here. And like, you can run a 2-1-2. You want to run something a little different, you can run that. It just feels really nice to finally say there's a shakeup.
It definitely seems there's a lot more there. Like, watching particularly again, Assassin Dave was the one that I was really focusing on, because I've been watching it this morning and stuff. The counterplay is just insane. It's just so strong, and I don't know if it's because it's a 5-stack and a coordinated team mentality or what, but watching the 5-stack be as strong as it is, watching the counterplay be as strong as it is, has been really exciting. because it kind of. I think one of the things that we were getting frustrated at the most was Zap, right? Like we were kind of just sat there being like, it's so frustrating because nothing matters up until Zap.
Right.
And now all of us, well, it's not now all of a sudden. It's right. Okay, Zap isn't the be all and end all. And yeah, you know, we knew this was a thing, but it just seems so much more viable watching these teams do it.
I think
maybe that's just me.
So I've been seeing a couple strategies going on here, and I really wanted to kind of point this out. It's one of those where hold on. Okay, I had to get that off. It didn't work very well. Oh, he lived. Okay,
It worked really well.
So there's a couple strategies that I saw. Now, I don't know if you want to delve into the strategies or just the meta.
Absolutely. No. Go for strats.
Okay.
I'm all here for strats.
So the new strategy that I have been seeing, which we have not seen here in this game at all, if you are up on points and levels by the 5-minute mark and that first dreadnought is up and running, you do not break that bottom barrier. You let it sit until after the 5-minute mark, and you purposely let them wait. You make them sweat out those levels as hard as you can. Otherwise...
Yeah, and this seems pretty big now, right?
Yes.
Like, this seems to be a standard for all the teams.
Yes. Now, it's one of those things where, if you're wondering, what is it doing? Basically... Oh, God. I'm going to go down here.
Hang on, Jack.
Nah. Basically what it's doing is when you break that bottom goal, you're giving the other team the 3 Odinos. Oh, hi, I have a visitor.
Okay, I can take over for that one. So yeah, you're giving the other team the 3 Ordinos there. And what that is so the whole purpose of taking Dread is that Dread is a big chunk of XP. You're supposed to get you get a shield with it as well, but you get that big chunk of XP, and it supposedly makes you stronger for the next fight. So ideally, you can kind of go in, you can take out the enemy team, and then you can run away with a big chunk of XP and potentially break their zone. But
yes, you can do that.
There
but
is
it's
a mechanic.
Also, there you go.
There's a mechanic in the game where you can catch up, and that is if the enemy breaks your zone. So it's the whole trying not to snowball the game completely. But people have now cottoned on to the fact if you don't break the enemy zone, they no longer get that XP, the catch-up XP. So you can take Dread, you can avoid breaking the zone, and you're not going to give them any XP to catch up.
Yep.
And with that way, from a competitive sense rather than a balanced game mechanic sense, you can then run away with the game.
And that's exactly right. Also, the one stat that I heard repeatedly over and over during the course of this weekend, we also have our jungler who is currently out. Great. It's if you win that first dreadnought, 90% of chance you're going to win the game.
Really?
Yep.
Is that an actual stat that somebody's sat and figured that out? And because if that is the case, that is nuts.
I don't know if it is 100% accurate or if it's just them saying from what they feel that's what's going to happen. Okay. I don't know what's going on here. Cinderace has now decided to join the fight. Oh, they backdoor.
Cinder didn't want to join the fight originally.
So there are just things that are... Yep, and we lost.
No. Now we counter score. Now we put the tactics into play that we've talked about.
We try. If we can get these kills, that's one thing. Okay. So the hardest part here is that if the other team is competent enough, they can just score and return back to base and everything's good to go. As for us, we're gonna try to put away points like that. Oh, okay, I guess we're surrendered.
Yeah, so this is a classic example of what we've experienced here of how not to do the counter score and strategy.
Well,
So
I
we
put
lost
away.
Zap. Hang on, let me finish. So we lost Zap there, and then me and Tsnydes there went to counter score. However, the counter score only works if you've heavily scored previously throughout the rest of the
Pretty
game,
much.
because Zap, no matter what happens, Zap still guarantees the team getting points unless you get a team wipe and you stop them from scoring at all. Zap will still guarantee them the points. But if you spent the rest of the game dominating and you have a much higher point count, then you can score afterwards. And sorry, I just had a couple of invites there. You can score, and it will kind of negate whatever they get with Zap. So it means that you maintain the lead that you already earned. But we didn't earn a lead there. So unfortunately, it just meant that we couldn't then counter score. I mean, you could potentially argue that you could, if everybody was already in and you just lost the fight, then you could run and try and keep it a little bit tighter. But it mainly works when you've got that lead, right?
Yeah.
Which again we didn't have there. Yeah. So that's we kind of went off on a little bit of a tangent there. There wasn't as much structure to that, but the whole kind of point that we were talking about was the strat there and the 1-1-3, and something which admittedly I didn't get to see a lot of the Asian streamers. I don't know if they did stream. I don't know if those streams are there to watch. I should probably go and find them. But we know that there's been a little bit of a divide between North America and Asia in terms of meta. So North America is primarily used the 1-1-3, and a lot of the Asian countries, or the Asian region, has used a 2-1-2. And with that, we've seen Greedent invades, we've seen Talonflame up top with Lucario. We've seen a little bit of a different strat, and traditionally in esports, we've seen it's been a similar pattern. There's been differences in metas between North America and a lot of the Asian regions. And when they've come head to head, we've seen those metas kind of clash, and then those metas fight out to who's the best, and usually that has been the Asian metas. So I'm interested, what do you think is going to be the case this time around? Do you think that's going to be the case here as well?
So the biggest thing that I'm seeing is not really meta. It's positioning. You're noticing one Pokemon on mainly North America that hasn't really been talked about much. After this set of buffs and nerfs, we've talked about Charizard, ironically, who's on the other team, being like that number one guy. Talonflame has quietly been the man. He can put out so much damage, and Cinderace can also do the same thing. So when you're running a Cinderace jungle or a Talonflame jungle, things can get absolutely nutty. And I think it just comes down to not whether it's a meta, but if it's the positioning of these team fights. We've noticed that at Dread, there is a bigger team fight than usually what we do or what we see. And the importance of getting that first Dread, like I said before, is kind of, I can't say the game, but it is extremely important. So if you play a 1-1-3 and you have a good counter at the top, that's absolutely fantastic. If you have a 2-1-2 and you can kind of bully a 1-1-3, which I feel like could happen at the top lane, but also get wrecked at the bottom, it kind of just comes down to the communication and how you position yourself in these team fights.
Interesting take. Yeah, because I mean, again, I don't know where I stand on either one being the strongest, because I think we've seen kind of limited mixes between the teams, right? We've usually seen North American teams playing against North American teams and Asian teams playing against Asian teams. So we haven't really seen the metas kind of fight on a big pressured stage just yet.
Right.
And I'm just, I don't know. I really don't know where I stand.
So
Because we've talked about the North American meta can, with the 1-1-3, you can sacrifice the top lane. Like Lucario is so good, you can sacrifice top lane, and you're not even sacrificing top lane. You can have Lucario by itself, even after all these nerfs. You can have Lucario by itself in the top lane, maybe lose out a little bit, and still come out in a good position, right?
Yeah, absolutely. As long as Lucario loses the top lane but still comes out at level 7 or 8 from the top lane, it's okay. Like, it's great positioning.
So to me, even if you're running a 2-1-2, no matter how hard you bully the top lane with that extra mon, then you're still going to be losing out on bottom and losing out on that dread, which is huge. Because, as you said with that stat, whether it's bang on or whether it's not, is a really, really big problem. Because if you're not competitive on the bottom lane, then yeah, bye game. However,
speaking of
what I will say is, because obviously that's kind of the, that's kind of writing off the American, the Asian meta in one fell swoop, right?
Yep.
Talking like that. But they've got quite an interesting counter to that, and that they will disrupt the jungle with an invade.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. We need to agree to invade. Oh man.
Yeah, no one was here. We've primarily seen it with Greedon. I've seen Snorlax do it as well. I think it was it Zogrug? Did it with Snorlax.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just going to be so interesting to see, and I'm super excited for the kind of main event.
Yeah, I'm really interested to, and this is kind of what my hope is for the Worlds, is that we've seen TTV basically dominate. I don't mind seeing them there because this is our first major event. I want to see something different. I know that I've been following for a while, so it's one of those things where I know that TTV is an absolute destructive force. I know that, and they are so good at what they do. They can position, they can flip fights, I mean, the whole 9 yards. But I want to see some weird strategy that doesn't look like it works, but it does. I want to see something weird.
You want the classic underdog story, don't you?
It doesn't have to be an underdog story. I just want to see something different that we're not used to. I want to see, like, okay, we have a Greedon invade, but it's not just a Greedon invade, it's something else. That's what I want to see.
What was quite interesting is I was on Assassin's Day stream that I was watching today. TTV nearly got flipped by a completely unknown team.
See, and that's what I'm hoping for. Just something different. We know that they're
a bit wacky.
Yeah, something that's like, they should have. They shouldn't have used their blaze kick at this moment. Instead, that kind of cost them the match, and just something weird. I really love to see stuff like that. Speaking of weird, this is an awkward spot. Oh yeah, good pick, Bit. Oh, that was you, Goose.
That's me. I'm running the slow, bro.
But the thing is like, yeah, I just want to see stuff that's so different and unique.
Yeah, I think that's important to me as well. I'm really keen to see some new strats, see what teams practice, because there's so much potential going into this, and it could be extremely exciting to watch. And I think I'd really be interested in casting. I mean, obviously, I'd love to be there, but I think for me, probably not going to be the case. Definitely not going to be the case in either a competitive or just a spectator view. So yeah, I will probably try and cast some of those games, which would be great to have you along for that as well.
Oh, I would love to.
Okay, so I think we've kind of gone over Worlds quite
Extensively.
or we've gone over our hopes and dreams for Worlds and that kind of thing. I think we'll talk more about some of the matches when we've been able to catch up on some and stuff like that. So just to chat a little bit about Aegislash, because last time we went to chat about Aegislash and neither of us really had an opinion. And I know both of us have kind of played it a little bit more this time. So I wanted to get your opinion now. And just, where do you think Aegislash is kind of... Do you think it's found a spot in gameplay? Do you think it's okay? Do you think it's rubbish and it should never grace the face of this arena ever again? Or what's your thoughts?
I don't think it is an A tier Pokemon. With that being said, it's also it is exactly what it says it is. It's supposed to be an expert tier level Pokemon. Also, I just stupidly wasted my Unite and not realized that it's 2-minute mark.
Rookie mistake.
So scrub 101 right here. Don't do what I just did. But yeah, so the things that are... It is what it says it is. You have to think methodically about this Pokemon. You have to think, okay, am I going to attack... Am I going to win this fight? Am I going to win this fight? If I can't win this fight, then what do I do? Things like that. We have to figure out... its place in the meta is very interesting right now because it's like... It is so new and our whole team is down. So, just...
Yeah. No one was in for the team fight.
Yeah. So obviously great showings here. So Aegislash is a expert tier level Pokemon. You have to think, if I'm going to engage in this battle, am I going to be able to win? If I can't win, then what do I do? Do I switch into defense form? Do I switch to this? Do I switch to the other guard, wide guard, Iron Hand? Do I switch to Sacred Sword? It's a very complex type Pokemon that you need to be able to have a good knowledge of what your items are, what the opposing team is, what they can do. The whole 9 yards. It's one of those things where it's just like you have to understand everything about this game.
Yeah,
if you don't, then you're gonna go in blind and you're gonna hope for the best. Is pretty much what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think it's extremely complex. It's just I kind of said at the start that it was a little bit more intuitive than Trevenant, based on my initial kind of. Assessment of it after a few games, and I think that was completely off the mark, to be honest.
Yeah,
it's good. Like it's a little bit easier. So I think it's like there's two extremes. So it's a little bit easier to play, but the scaling, like if you play it well, you play so much better than Trevenant.
Yeah, if you can get ahead,
there's that complexity to there.
So the one thing that I am seeing, and it's not whether it's in the ranking matches or not, it's one of those where if you can kind of go toe-to-toe with Lucario in the top lane and get your max stacks off, the amount of burst damage that you can do is far greater than any other Pokemon in the roster, that you can absolutely wipe out a team easily. But again, comes with the same thing is you have to know what you're doing at what time.
I think it's an ingenious little mechanic. I really like it. The kind of not charging boosted attacks as you attack like everything else, but having to rely on your skills to do that. And then once you do have those boosted attacks, if you've got 5 boosted attacks, like you can get a pentakill so quickly.
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's not even funny. Like you just melt through shields. Even with like I've been on a tower and I've been playing against a good Aegis Slash, and I've had that Aegis Slash just come in and carve through the team. Like it's something completely out of the blue, and I really like it. I think, yeah, it's not the best. It's okay, but I think in a team fight, in a good 5-stack, good coordinated 5-stack, it could be a big deal. And I'm gonna say it now. I'm gonna make an interesting call. I think we see Aegis Slash doing really well at Worlds.
Really? That is a bold prediction.
I think because once it's had a few nerfs and buffs, or once it's had a little bit of a change, I think Aegis Slash could be a really big deal. Because at the end of the day, what is your jungler all about?
Well, and
what is your top lane, your jungler? It's about dealing out as much damage as possible.
Sure.
And if you come into Zap, everybody's got their shields up, so you're all on equal footing, and then you come out with, that with some good boosted attacks. You pop out the ult. You're just going to melt through the enemy shields. Like, it's not going to stand a chance. So, yeah, I think it could be... could do quite well at Worlds.
I don't think it will.
I don't think many people do. It's a slightly bold prediction.
A very bold prediction. I'm going to agree with one of our viewers here. I think it's just like a high B. If you know the mechanics, it could definitely be an A. So the other thing that I have is that you have Greninja and you have Cinderace that are both so good in what they do in the jungle. And they can clear so fast in the beginning. They can... It's one of those things where it's just like, I don't think you're going to knock off Cinderace or Greninja.
I mean, I can understand that.
I'm doing everything I can.
I got...
Oh, we got a backdoor Lucario.
Hello. Interesting choice.
So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. I don't know if it's going to work. I think Cinderace and Greninja are just too good of junglers to be given Aegis Slash the new throne.
I think that's fair. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't think it's going to become the all-encompassing kind of mon out there, but I think it will do well. I think it'll surprise people.
Now, if you could see it somewhere else, where would you think you would see it?
Oh, as in which lane do you mean?
Yes.
Ooh, I mean, it's an all-rounder, so they are trying to make all-rounders suitable for top lane, to solo top lane. That's what they seem to be going for.
There's more experience up there.
Yeah, we're kind of getting a little bit bullied here, though.
Yes, we are. Well, we do have 3 down here, and our jungler doesn't want to do anything about it. So it's
it's our jungler. So
is he? I thought the Decidueye was. Well,
okay, I got punished by the code.
So this is the problem that I have with, and this is my hope. So I'm gonna try to transition here a little bit into nerf buff / next patch / next Pokemon being released. I know we talked about this 3 episodes in a row about the next Pokemon to be released, but we had some I put some questions out there in our Discord about who would you like to see, what would their kits be, X, Y, and Z. And some of our viewers came back with like really interesting answers.
Yeah, they did. I really like that.
So let's go with nerf buff patch in this next segment and kind of see where we go with this. I'm curious to know what your positioning is for who do you want to see buffed? Who do you want to see nerfed? What tweaks do you need to see from other people? Just kind of give me your rundown.
Well, I think the main thing for me, I think a lot of mons are in a good place, to be quite honest. I think I really, really want, primarily because I'm fighting one right now, but I really, really want to see Lucario nerfed. Like, it's just so stupidly good. To me, a lot of the gameplay is not, the issue isn't with the actual mons, it's with the mechanics of the game, like the people. So it's, yeah, I think if we're going to talk about nerfs and buffs, Lucario I think needs to change still. It's still too strong. I think if it needs better counters than what are available right now.
Oh, so close. So close.
Like, it's just once you get Lucario, because it levels so fast as well, and once you get Lucario that's like a few levels higher than you, like, that's it, you're done. So it needs better counters, I think. And whether that's a nerf or whether that's a greater improvement to more of the all-rounders, I don't know. But there still doesn't seem to be a natural counter to Lucario. It's still so strong, still so dominant.
There's an Audino back there. Take that.
Yeah, I think that's where my main gripe is still.
I agree. So I guess we can kind of just touch on each Pokemon to kind of what we feel, if you would like, versus kind of giving one massive list. So for me, I agree. I recently had picked up Lucario, and I thought, let's give him a whirl. If you are good, I mean, you're game changing. You come into a fight like this, like they're moving as a team. They're purposely leaving 4 of them going up top. Oh, hey, we have an absolute jungle. I didn't know that. If you can get Lucario to level 9, even before your jungler, to be honest with you, you're gonna win. It's unbelievable to see how much he can change a game.
I mean, I just played a game as Wiggly before, and Wiggly's kind of like, it's been pretty dominant. But I was up against Lucario, and I had Slow Smoke and Sing.
Yep.
He unstoppable out of my Sing, and then he just burst out of my Slow Smoke. So it's like he cannot be stopped.
Yeah, and with the full heal, it's good to see this. Items are finally becoming important. It's a very, very viable thing where you have to start to making a decision here. And we have nobody down here. You have to make a decision. Okay, Lucario, we know that there's a lot of slow smokes running around, so if we run an eject button or a full heal, we're gonna have an easier time getting out versus trying to use another slow smoke to counter that. X, Y, and Z. Finally, we're seeing items matter.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
I still, from playing Lucario, I still think he needs a nerf. The fact that he got a nerf, but then got a weird random buff on the side of that was just so strange.
Yeah, it's just, I think for me, if you really want to change up the meta, if you want to change things a lot, then Lucario needs to change. I think there's mons that need rework, and I think Crustle needs to kind of change. I think Garchomp's finally there. Garchomp has a place now. Maybe he's not competitive, but he's viable to an extent. But if you really, really want to change the game, Lucario is the main one, because it's still so dominant. Like, it's still such a big issue, and I'm using the word issue because he is an issue.
Yeah. If he's not your top laner, I feel like it's gonna be a very difficult uphill battle. I really do. It's very interesting to see what could potentially take over that throne.
Yeah, I mean, I really want to see the likes of Machoke, Machamp, and Charizard Charizard and Aegislash, just any all-rounder, I think, should be able to solo top lane. I think that should be the dream.
I agree. So does that come with buffs or nerfs?
I think it's got to come to a nerf to Lucario, because Lucario still is super strong in the top lane. It's still kind of like the de facto go-to. I think Serena's kind of changed that a little bit. Serena can solo top lane. There was a little phase where most, even like the likes of Lutano, was running Serena in the top lane. But yeah, I don't know. It's still a big issue for Lucario. But once again, we're kind of doing a lot of whinging here, and really we should be excited because we've got a super exciting support coming out. Potentially a super exciting support. And this was something that we kind of discussed in the Discord a little bit. Like you said, we asked some questions. So we had two main answers that were kind of like, they make sense, sound good. So I've got them here if you want me to run through them.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so we had the lovely Tilsy and Geo, whose names I constantly get mixed up for no reason at all. But we had Tilsy come in and talk about Clefairy. I think Clefairy is going to be the main one here. It's the one that's been most speculated. Everybody's like, yep, probably going to be Clefairy. It was in the beta. The only kind of reason a lot of people are thinking maybe it's not Clefairy is because
that's how you counter.
That's how you counter score. So anybody who was watching live or ends up watching this on YouTube, that is how you counter score. But yeah, the only reason people think Clefable might not be a thing is because the moveset has been taken up by Wiggly. So it'll be interesting to see. But they hoped for either Togekiss or Hatterene, which I'd be so down for both of those. I think would be so good. Hatterene, I think, could potentially be a little bit too similar to God of War. But I think Togekiss, you could have a crazy build with Togekiss. I'd be really, really interested to see that.
Yeah, so I would prefer... one. I honestly prefer Togekiss over pretty much anything, just because I know that he has, like, in the game, he has wild movesets, and just being able to kind of do some of the things that I have seen or speculated or something like that, I just think it would be so much better to have that.
100%.
But please continue. I'm still curious.
And then this one, I love this one. Love this one from Geo. Vileplume as a supporter, the Vileplume line. Geo went in deep on this. So one ability switches between the sleep, poison, and paralysis powders. So you've got a mix of, so kind of like Dragonite, you've got a mix of effects coming out there. You could mess someone up so badly with that. And then the other ability is similar to Giga Drain, so maybe you see like a Leech Seed, or maybe you see like a Deep Root. What? It's not Deep Root. Can't remember the move name. But anyway, it's Ingrain. That's the one. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Where did I get Deep Root from? Anyway, something like Ingrain, but it heals all your nearby allies whilst draining. So maybe I think if it healed you as well, it might be a little bit too powerful, or maybe you just make the healing effect quite low. But you have an AoE heal, and I think that is so important. It's the reason why Eldegoss has been the main healer over Blissey, because Blissey has some good abilities. The boosted base attack, super good. But Eldegoss has been the main one because Eldegoss can do AoE healing rather than just a single heal. So I think this could potentially be a really good substitute for Eldegoss here. It would be a very tanky support.
Just when Geo had put that in the chat and reading that, I was blown away. Like, we need people like this to really give us something unique and special to the game.
We need Geo on the board.
Even if it's just
in that team.
Even if it's just like, say it's not going to be this Pokemon, fine, that's okay. I'm cool with that. But with the next one being an attacker again and no speedster, like, it kind of makes you wonder, like, all right, well, who are we going to get next? You know, I'm actually very surprised that we don't have any leaks. We don't have any data mines. We don't have anything.
Pretty crazy. And do you want to... This is why I think this is the case. We've not had a big patch since, you know, in the upcoming kind of... or the build-up to this release. We've not had any kind of patch. And that's where they get the data mines from, is when the patch comes out and then they can find it, because that's already coded in to make the transition a little bit smoother, right?
Fair enough.
So I'm thinking they've made a conscious decision here to not put out the patches so that people can't find out. Because the main source of the leaks is Chico Eevee, right? Like, that's generally where we see that information come from, and it's been silent. Like, there's been nothing.
Yeah.
And I think it's because the patches have not been there. And you know, I like that approach. I really like that approach, because I like the leaks, but at the same time, you know, it kind of spoils all their build-up. And takes
does it
some of the highlight away, I think.
But does it spoil it, or does it make it better?
I think it spoils it, because everybody's talking about it.
So that's
everybody's talking about it right now.
But that's the point, right? You want people to be excited for it. You want people to talk about it, and if you kind of hide everything until the very last second, kind of like what's happening here, you're like, okay, the build up is gonna get so big that if you happen to drop something and drop it very poorly, it will not be well received. Versus, if you drop it early, you have potential time to be like, okay, well, what are its moves? What does it do? And then you might gradually get to that point. Because when that first Pokemon comes out, everybody wants to play it.
I can understand your point. I can understand. Yeah, you've kind of got a lot of the speculation. But I don't think that speculation's gone. You know, we spent a fair bit of this podcast talking about what we think it's going to be. We've spent previous podcasts talking about what we think it's going to be. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's removed the speculation. I think it's... I don't know. I think it's an interesting approach, whether we continue to see it, whether it has been a conscious decision, or whether it's just been, you know, a happy accident, so to speak, that the patch updates have kind of fallen at a certain time. But what also gets me hopeful is that we're going to see a big patch when it does come out. We're going to see something big, because we haven't had a patch since Aegislash, right?
Yeah.
So we should see quite a lot of changes with this, or I hope we will anyway. But we'll see. As ever, we will see. But that wasn't the only question that you asked in the Discord. Nope. You asked a couple of questions, and we got some answers. We got some consensus. So obviously you asked the question about the supporter and who they are, what you might like to see their move builds. But you also asked what things would you like to see in the patch. And since we've just kind of finished talking about it, there are ideas there. Oh, got it.
Back it up.
People have thoughts. People have hopes and wishes, dreams that they don't want to see crushed. And the main one is... or one of the main ones is a different system to rank, right? Mm-hmm. Different system to calculate elo, because I think it's been last season, maybe it's not so much this season. If I know this season is still the same. It was too easy to rank, mm-hmm. I think. There was just too much coming through, and people were just finding it far too easy to get away with it. So yeah, I think that does need to change. I think another thing that we kind of spoke about was there needs to be separation between between the 5 stacks and the non-5 stacks, between 5 stack and solo queue. I think that would be big, because you have a lot of people protecting, and it's not a bad thing. If I had a consistent 5 stack to play with, because we do 5 stack every now and then, but if I had a consistent 5 stack to play with, I'd not play solo queue ever again.
Yeah, I'm in that boat.
But I think that people kind of can protect their 5, can protect their elo with the 5 stack. So you have people who, you know, might not necessarily be that good and potentially carried by other players being at a really high rank, and they might not deserve to be at that rank. So yeah, I think that it definitely needs to change. How we will see that change, whether we will see that change, I do not know. Oh, back out.
Yeah,
I made mistakes.
I see you. I can get in here a little bit.
I didn't make mistakes. Push. That was a very quick change.
Oh, well, that's how you flip a battle, though. That's how you flip it,
Okay,
right?
that was a bit wild. Focus band came in clutch there.
Yeah, I already had mine popped. So, but
Anyway,
so I alluded to this a few times earlier, and I'm still sticking to my guns. I still think we need to change MVPs. We need to get rid of this system where people feel like they're superior because of whatever the case is. We need to we just kind of need to get rid of this I'm better than you and start making this a team game. Because we're not, like, right now we have 3 up top, which is not the primary objective.
no.
You know, we kind of have to feel everything out of what's going on here. Dragonair slipped my grasp. Thank you.
Got it.
So things like this is where we kind of have to figure everything out. I really think that if we can just start making this a team game. Don't break. Well, yeah, it can break. Go ahead. We'll take this Dragonite down and then...
Oh my god, Greninja, go away. Greninja nearly popped it on 15.
Oh, that would have been...
Pinata God, is the game worth getting back into? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
We're going to address this question very quickly. So this is a question that we just had come in on chat from Pinata. And hello, Pinata. Thanks for coming back again. Good to see you. I would say give it a month.
See where this time. Yeah, see where this patch comes, where it takes you. Because if you get tilted as quickly as I do, you're gonna hate this game, right? You're just gonna straight up hate it. There's just stuff that you can do in this game that feel really good, and there are just some times where you just spiral out of control. Like, there's just nothing you can do about it. It's kind of like how I feel right now, where everybody's gonna drop here. It's tough because it really depends on how you play. If you play solo, don't pick this game up at all. At all. You're just gonna induce rage, and you're just gonna hate everything about it. If you're playing with duo and trio and potentially 5 stacks, I know it's a lot harder to do that with the 5 stack, to get consistent people like this. If you can get that on a consistent and regular basis, you will have a lot more fun with this game. But if you're going solo, just don't do it. I'm telling you. I'm learning from experience from the last 2 seasons. It's nothing but headaches and pains the whole way through.
I mean, even Crashy, one of the biggest denouncers of the... Well, I'm saying one of the biggest denouncers. He loves the game. But he has quite some strong opinions, which gets him in some hot water with some of the happy clappers sometimes.
But that's what I need. I need that. I need somebody who's going to speak the truth.
Well, what I was going to say was, sometimes I think his opinions can be a little bit reactionary, but I don't think his opinions are necessarily wrong ones. But even he has found the game so much better since he went solo in the 5 stack.
Yeah.
Since he went solo in the 5 stack, since he got rid of solo and went to 5 stack. It's just, it completely changes your experience. So if you can get a 5 stack, a decent 5 stack, then yeah, the game's fine. But yeah. Until you get to that point, give it a month. Give it a little bit of time. But yeah, one of the other questions that we had, because we've done the what would we change to death now. So we'll move on to the other ones that we've done to death. How are you feeling about Pokemon Unite? And this was something that came from this was something that was answered in the Discord. And yeah, it's just mixed. Solo queue, fun, 5 stacks. The problem with 5 stacks, because they do have their issues.
Solo queue is not fun. Solo queue is terrible.
Solo queue can be fun and pain.
No, I've never had fun in a solo queue.
It's an interesting one. I've had fun, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm winning the game, though. You can have a mixed experience in solo queue. And it's just... Oh god, hello.
Well, this is the fight here. I guess it's what we wanted.
This is the fight. What fight?
Okay, we got 2 down.
Yeah, it's just it's such a weird game. It's in such a weird place. I really don't know. And I think everybody's feeling like that. It's just so.
It has gone from a fun, friendly MOBA, and very quickly has turned into a massively competitive game where if you're not running certain things, then what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, it's very interesting to see how it was fun and friendly less than 3, maybe even 6 months ago, right when it kind of came out, to absolutely nothing.
God, this game is rage-inducing.
Oh yeah, but we are also grown men trying to talk about this game, and you know, it's not your fun-loving Pokemon that you're normally used to.
No.
So that's the other thing. But
it is an interesting mix. I'll agree. It's such a strange one. It's got room to improve. It's definitely got so much potential. But my feelings will remain mixed.
You stay down there. So
and then
the last one I had, I put out multiple questions. The one question actually came back to us, which actually is a really good question, and this is something that you and I talk about on a regular basis because we try to do our 5 stacks. What synergy would you think is best, and what team comps do you think would be best to run in a 5 stack, a trio, things like that?
God. It's just, but I mean, the thing is, you can't even say what's best. I mean, you can, because there's kind of like clearly defined game, and there's clearly defined metas, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, again, I was watching Assassin Dave's stream, and he was saying that it's just really boring watching a lot of the TTV games, because the TTV guys run a set number, they run a set team. It's the same every time. You always see Eldegoss and Wiggly, you see Pikachu down bottom, you see Cinderace in the jungle, and you see Lucario up top.
Yep.
And their meta evolves or changes every now and then with each patch, right? It changes, but only slightly. They've been running the same thing, and again, you know, they are arguably one of the best teams. Thanks for the follow, by the way, whoever that was. For anybody who was listening to this audio only, that was my follow noise. Yeah, it's just so. I think if you've got Cinderace in the jungle at the minute, that's probably one of the best things to do in a 5 stack. Wiggly down bottom, Eldegoss down bottom. You can't go wrong. Lucario up top, I still think is completely dominant. And then I think the only real room for change or variation is the ranged attacker that you've got down bottom, and potentially the jungle. You know, Cinderace and Greninja are very strong, but you see the likes of God of War being used quite well. You don't really see Decidueye, but there's potential there. But I think if you're looking at the meta, like what is the best comp? You think Lucario up top, and then Wiggly and LD down bottom. At the minute. So it's
So yeah, I'm gonna agree with this. It is a very defined, like, these Pokemon are extremely good. Unless you're very, very good with other ones, it's usually going to be 90% this way. And then the other 10% is probably going to be like your Green Invade and your weirds, things like that. But I have seen some other weird comps, and I really would love to try them out, but they're really mainly for a 5-stack. I have seen, now the top lane and jungler didn't really matter at this point, but the 3 down bottom was a Snorlax, a Wiggles, and a Decidueye. Like, imagine...
Sorry, what? You kind of cut out a little bit there.
Oh no. The
Snorlax and Wiggles.
Snorlax, Wiggles, and Decidueye.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, that could be potent.
So basically, it's kind of like you got your 2 engagers going in full force, and then you have your ranged attacker just going, okay, I'm gonna stay back here and just punish out damage. I guess I'm gonna go bottom with you guys.
Yeah.
It could be really destructive. So I'm gonna do this little shout out because I love their energy and I love what they do. We actually have 2 podcasts also about Pokemon Unite that I listen to. And
oh my god, you're selling out.
I'm not going to sell out because
You're throwing the competition in the way.
What they have done is they have recognized everybody else. So unfortunately we don't upload to they have recognized the other podcasts that upload to Apple Podcast or Spotify or wherever else that they're found. Unfortunately, right now, we're just a YouTube and Twitch base. We haven't gone too crazy into this yet. But what a goal, ironically, which is what we're named after.
Discord.
Our Discord, yep. And you're on fire with Spraggles and Crashy. Those 2 podcasts are very, very insightful of what you're doing, and they give a nod to each other, which is fantastic. I love seeing this, and I love the build of the community for all of this. At one point, if we could get a shout out on them, I would blow my mind. Just being like,
that'd be pretty insane.
You know,
this what's all this about?
So, oh wow, you got a whole handful here, huh?
Yeah.
The biggest part about everything here that's leading up is the fact that it is amazing to see that people can succeed in a 5-stack or a 3-stack just using a good comp down bottom. They alluded to what they were doing, and they said that they had a Decidueye bottom, a Snorlax bottom, and then that third one was interchangeable. So it really didn't matter of who, but they were... You just had the big beefy boy in the front and the damage dealer in the back. And if you really think about it, that's all it needs to be. It could be interchangeable with Decidueye, it could be with Cinderace, Gardevoir, it could be any of them, really, if you think about it.
Yep.
It's just so nice to see. Oh, alright, well, I'll box him out for you.
Why box him out? We can just kill him.
I tried.
Ah, spoiling the fun.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get this. I'm gonna go down. So it's just good to see, like, there's viability in ranked, but for a straight up competitive, it's kind of defined. But once we start teetering with these lines, we could really see some fun builds. I really think we could. And that's where I think Unite is going to really start to shine.
Yeah, I agree. I think we kind of hit a nice natural little stopping point there. The only thing that I would want to talk about is, which you've kind of done, is the content creator of the week, or the content that you would like to see to shout out. You've kind of done that with the podcasts there.
Yep.
And the only difference that I would suggest is go and watch Worlds. Anybody who's streaming Worlds, the community could really do with that. To be honest, the more stuff that goes on in Worlds, the more Worlds has popularity, the more funding this game will get, the better it will do. And I think that's super important if the game wants to have a future. So anybody who's watching Worlds, anybody who's doing anything, competing, casting, whatever, go and support. So yeah, I think that's probably where I end off there.
Excellent. So Goose, let me ask you, where can the good people find you?
The good people can, and the bad people can find me at X_Goose. If you're already watching this on Twitch, then you will find me here, and you will find me anywhere else. All my socials are linked. It's just variations of X_Goose. So yeah, have a look for me there. Excellent. Where can the funky people find yourself?
Ooh, funky. I like this. Basically, you guys can find me anywhere you want. YouTube, Twitch, TikTok. Unfortunately, I don't have any clips from the stream, but anywhere that you can think of. Unfortunately, I'm not on Trovo just yet, but it's the same all around. It's Tsnydes28. So please, anybody who wants to help all of us out, please go on over, drop us a like, drop us a follow. We greatly appreciate it. It only takes a click, and we'll love you for it.
Brilliant. Okay, and then yeah, folks, we will see you all next week. Okay, my